In the aftermath of an alien infiltration, Earth ramps up its defenses, launching a new satellite to monitor space. Meanwhile, Yulia finds herself embroiled in a web of secrets and danger, facing off against both human and alien adversaries. As tensions escalate, Yulia's fate becomes intertwined with humanity's struggle for survival against extraterrestrial forces. Stick around until the end to see the betrayal from Yulia's father. Welcome to your daily dose of movie pill. Today, we'll be looking at a 2020 Russian sci-fi movie titled Invasion. Spoilers ahead, and let's dive right in. 3 years have zipped by since those sneaky aliens snuck onto Earth. Now the whole planet's beefing up its defenses, with the USA, Russia, and China leading the charge. They're tossing up a new satellite to keep an eye on deep space, making sure no surprise alien visitors sneak up on us again. And wouldn't you know it, just as the satellite's going up, we spot this weird alien ship with its wavy tentacle bits. Suddenly, a little shuttle zooms out of it, streaking towards Earth and diving into the atmosphere. Meanwhile, out in the middle of the ocean, there's this fishing boat bobbing about. The crew's doing their thing, shooting the breeze and all that. One of them squints out across the water and catches sight of that alien shuttle dropping down. But does he say anything to the others? Nope, he keeps it to himself. Next thing you know, that shuttle's gliding underwater, like it's turned into some kind of alien submarine. 4 months later, Yulia's out jogging with her dog when they swing by an apartment complex. But uh-oh, her furry friend bolts and ignores all her calls. She recruits some random guys nearby to help track him down. Later, she's chilling in a robotics class when her buddy starts fishing for some juicy lab gossip. But she shuts him down real quick, warning him that her security team won't hesitate to pull the trigger if she spills the beans. Class ends and her pals tries to drop the L-bomb, but she's wise to it and quickly shuts him down, opting to keep things platonic for his own safety. Her security detail steers them over to her dad's ride. Daddy Dearest, General Lebedev, gives her friend the nickname Google and shoots the breeze a bit, revealing he works over at Rostelecom. They drop him off there, but when he strolls into the building, security clocks that his ID says intern. Meanwhile, Yulia and her dad are still on the road, and he jokes about breaking her out and sneaking her to another country where she could hide out. She's not too keen on the idea. She doesn't want to get him in trouble. Eventually, they pull up to this research lab run by the Russian Ministry of Defense. There, they see this crazy scene, a robot busting through doors and wrecking a car. Yulia's dad chats with one of the scientists, asking what the heck is going on. The scientist spills the beans. It's some fancy biotech stuff they're working on. The robot's being piloted by a human, talking to the lab through some comm system. The general cracks a joke about it being a Russian alien team-up. Then, the scientists drop the bomb. Yulia's the key to understanding how all this tech works. Meanwhile, deep in the lab, Yulia's caught up in some experiment. The head scientist grills her about her encounter with the alien spacecraft, watching her reactions like a hawk. When he brings up her friend who died during the encounter, her heart rate spikes. And when they ask about her boyfriend, Artyom, she clams up, clearly not wanting to talk about it. All of a sudden, her boyfriend gets dragged into the lab. He starts talking to her, and she's super upset, demanding the scientist stop the whole thing and let her go. He says sorry for the trouble he's caused as she struggles against her restraints. While she's chatting away, the scientist eggs him on, and then there's this huge power surge. Her dad storms into the lab and yanks her out of there, while her boyfriend's left scratching his head, wondering why he's the one stuck while she's set free. Later, Yulia has a heart-to-heart with her dad, asking for some alone time without her guards or anyone else watching her every move. He reluctantly agrees and sets up a sneaky meeting with a soldier named Ivan, telling him to ditch the uniform for some regular clothes. That night, Yulia's hitting the bottle at a bar. She clocks Ivan and buys him a drink and lets him know she's onto him, so he sidles up to the bar with her. Just when they're about to split, another guy shows up, insisting they hit the road. This guy, Hakon, shows up out of nowhere and insists Yulia has to come with him, even though she's not thrilled about it. Ivan, the soldier, and Hakon get into a scuffle, but Yulia knocks out Ivan herself. She and Hakon bail from the bar, leaving the brawl behind. They contact Sol, the alien spaceship, which helps them out by arranging a ride. A car with 2 folks already inside. Sol takes control of the car and they're off. Ivan catches up on a motorcycle, though despite Ivan's persistence, they manage to shake him off for a bit. But he's like a bad penny. He keeps turning up. He calls General Lebedev, who starts stirring things up at the Ministry of Defense lab. Meanwhile, Hakon fills Yulia in on the situation, warning her that they're in deep trouble because of the experiments and they gotta scram ASAP. The car's racing down the road when it almost smacks into a dude crossing the street. But bam! It stops just in time and the driver tells everyone to bail out. Hakon and Yulia stick around though. Ivan's still gunning for them. He takes a shot, pops a tire, and causes a major crash. But Soul's on the ball, swoops in and saves Ivan from the wreckage. Ivan throws in the towel and rings up the big boss to say he lost them. Soul keeps cruising until they're deep in the woods, where it drops off Hakon and Yulia. Yulia's jaw drops when her dog comes bounding up to her. She thought he was a goner. Turns out, he's the alien dude she helped out before. They head inside, catch up, and shoot the breeze about how he's been coping on Earth. Turns out, he's adapted pretty well. But then there's a knock at the door, and when Yulia answers, guess who's standing there? Only Google. She's mad, even though that's what he tried to warn her about earlier. Hakon spills the beans that she was supposed to split after their first run-in, but he broke the rules and hung around on Soul, chilling close to Earth. They make up big time, and as they're getting cozy, Soul transforms into Ra. The next morning, Yulia calls her dad to spill that she's with Hakon now. She breaks the news that she's gotta bounce because she doesn't feel at home on Earth anymore, begging him to keep it hush-hush. But General Lebedev ain't having it. He orders his crew to track her down. Yulia heads back inside where Hakon's whipping up some brekkie. Meanwhile, a whole SWAT team's got the place surrounding, itching to bust in. General Lebedev tells him to chill, but Ra swoops in and changes the game, making the call to take him down. The troops bust in, Hakon throws down with a few of them, and they make a break for it. His ship's all fired up and waiting for him down by the river. Hakon jumps into the ship, but those guys aren't letting up and shoot Yulia as she's climbing in. Hakon jets off, but then they're told to fire a missile at them. Quick as lightning, Hakon smacks down the missile in midair. But dang, the ship's still beat up from the attack, and it takes a dive into the river. Hakon tries to link up with Soul, but Ra drops a bombshell. Yulia's gotta go before the ship can get patched up. Hakon's not having it, so Ra decides he's gotta go too. Meanwhile, the General and Ivan are scrambling, getting all sorts of mixed signals cause Ra's been meddling. They figure out that Space Defense is gunning for the ship, but they're puzzled about who ordered it. Back at the lab, Artyom pulls a fast one on his guard, hops into a robot, and makes a break for it. He reaches a bridge over the river just in time to catch wind that a unit's about to take down the ship. The ship skims along the water, but two helicopters lock onto it. It busts out of the river and goes crashing down, followed by a big splash. The helicopters are all set to take down the ship, following Ra's orders. But then, out of nowhere, Artyom in that robot suit pounces on one of them and tears it to bits. Down on the ground, the general rushes to the ship, hoping to find Yulia safe, but she and Hakon have already made their escape. He scoops her up and gets her to an ambulance, where they bump into Artyom. Seeing Yulia hurt, Artyom promises to find a doc, but Hakon insists that she just needs water. Artyom hails a ride, leaving the car owner behind this time. As they speed off, Hakon spills the beans about how powerful Soul is and how it can control our tech. Artyom's all ears, asking what it's after. Hakon drops the bomb. Soul's only mission is to wipe out Yulia. Meanwhile, Yulia's dad storms into a top-level meeting at the Defense Ministry, demanding answers about the aggressive orders during the ship chase. The big shots shut him down, ordering him to take a seat. Then he turns to the Space Defense folks and demands an explanation. They point fingers at the general, playing a recording of his voice as clear as day, giving out orders. The vice premier insists on airing the news in the meeting, showing the wreckage in Moscow caused by the chase. The media's pointing fingers at Yulia, painting her as some kind of terrorist in cahoots with the aliens, even airing a fake video to make their case. Turns out, the whole news broadcast is a sham, not even coming from a real TV station. The general fires back, blaming the aliens for this whole mess. He's itching for retaliation, but the vice premier isn't budging without solid proof. General Lebedev pushes for strict protocols, demanding that only old-school analog tech be used for communication until they sort this out. The vice premier gives the nod, and they start prepping for the switch. Meanwhile, Hakon, Yulia, and Artyom rush to a store to grab water for her. Hakon dashes in to grab the goods, but when he hits the checkout, everyone's phones start blowing up with the news about Yulia and some supposed terrorist threat. As Hakon heads back to the car, some lady in the next car spots Yulia and snitches to the cops nearby. Meanwhile, Ivan's hauling the ship back to base when he gets some bogus message claiming Yulia's attack hurt his son. Ra's flooding the digital airwaves, turning Yulia into a public enemy #1. Google's got a cop snooping around about Yulia, but his grandma sends the officer packing. Then she grills Google about hiding his pals in the closet. Next thing you know, Artyom and Hakon dunk Yulia in water. Hakon breaks it to Artyom that she's not really human anymore. She's changing, getting crazily powerful and potentially dangerous. Ra figures offing her might save everyone else, so it's gunning for her. Later on, Artyom and Google get Hakon sloshed on purpose and drag him to the Defense Ministry. Artyom leaves Google no choice in the matter. When they show up, Yulia's dad is ready to tear them apart. Google finally cracks and spills the beans on where his daughter is. Yulia's dad squares off with Hakon, demanding the coordinates to Ra, which only he knows. He gives him a choice, her or his own kind. Meanwhile, Ivan's trying to reach his wife but hits a dead end. He catches wind of the news about Yulia just as the general strolls in, ordering his crew to gear up an observatory in the satellite with the intel from Hakon. The general tasks Ivan with fetching Yulia but insists on bringing her directly to him, no one else involved. With Ra pinpointed, the general loops in the vice premier about their next move. They opt for a forceful showdown but need to knock out a satellite to keep it in the dark about their plan. The military sends Google to Ross Telecom to take out their satellite. Once it's down, they've only got a slim window before it boots back up. Their ace in the hole? A super secret weapon that the vice premier's pretending they don't have, even though they totally do. The general persuades him that they're out of options. Yulia wakes up feeling brand new in the tub. She's all set to bounce from Google's grandma's house when Ivan swings by, offering her a lift. But here's the kicker. He's convinced she's behind all the mayhem and makes it clear she'll pay if his kid doesn't pull through. The big boss gives the thumbs up to launch the super missile to take out the satellite too. They hold their breath as the missile smacks down on Ra, but the boss wants solid proof the alien is toast. Out in the street, folks are hollering for Yulia's head on a platter. Ivan plays chauffeur through the mob, still doubting her. He drops her off at the ministry to face the music with her old man and the gang. Meanwhile, Hakon rings up Ra on the blower, ready for the fireworks. Ra's itching for payback, thinking humans ain't worth a dime. It offers Hakon a ticket home, but he sticks around, holding on to faith in humanity. Then, Ra kicks off its big bad plan, visible from every corner, even the Ministry of Defense Tower. Ra is furious with the humans for messing with its tech, especially Yulia. It throws up this massive water bubble around Moscow, flooding the area. The military's scrambling to break through it, but they're hitting a wall. They start evacuating people, telling them to head for the rooftops. The boss tells Hakon to grab Yulia and Artyom and hustle them to the chopper waiting up top. Hakon gets them on board, but he's stuck inside the dome. He heads back to the boss, asking for his shuttle. He figures he can take a shot at Ra with it. The boss realizes it's a one-way trip. He wants to go himself, but only Hakon can fly that thing. The boss gets his crew out of there, but sticks around to help Hakon line up the shuttle straight at Ra. The chopper with Yulia and Artyom hits trouble, and they're forced to bail out into the water below. They end up on a rooftop with others caught in the mess. As the water keeps rising, Yulia can't bear it and asks Artyom to end it all. Meanwhile, the boss gets Hakon as close to Ra as he can before they're flooded. On the rooftop, Yulia asks for someone to stop her, and Ivan, filled with anger, goes after her. Artyom jumps in to protect her, but takes a hit. As the water closes in, Ivan hesitates. Then it's all underwater. Hakon speeds towards Ra in his ship. While underwater, Yulia's bracelet kicks in, sending jets of water toward Ra. She pulls Ra out just as military choppers start blasting at it. Yulia keeps pushing the ship away and the military blows it up with a missile. Then the water starts to retreat and people come up for air. Miraculously, the general survives. Hakon's ship gets stuck in the remaining water, with Ra fading away. He pops up on the roof beside Yulia. With the alien threat gone, the day is saved again. Later, there's a pretend funeral for Yulia, and after that, a chopper flies over Kamchatka. Someone hops out and strolls away with a dog. It's the general, heading to a specific spot. When he gets there, he finds Yulia and Hakon. They hug it out, wondering what's next. Yulia touches the water, and a spaceship pops up from below. In the aftermath of the alien threat, humanity strengthens its defenses, launching a new satellite to guard against future incursions. But when another alien ship appears, a fisherman witnesses its descent into the ocean, signaling a new twist in the saga. I rate this movie a 6.5 out of 10. Comment down below what you would rate it. Looks like this movie pill is starting to wear off. But don't worry, there's always more where that came from. Tap here to keep the effects going with this next movie, because who can stop at just one? And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe, because your next movie dose is just a click away.